How bad is the used car market right now? I'm a used car dealer in the UK, and primarily 90% of my business is dealing in sub £5,000 affordable and practical cars. And the other 10% comes from sports and classics. Things have changed a lot recently, and the car market is definitely getting tough for us car dealers. Bills, mortgages, day-to-day costs have really rocketed. The car trade is like going on a roller coaster. You're up and down as the ride takes you. And being in the business and speaking with others in the trade, things seem to be quieter for many other dealers at the moment. So how bad is the car market right now? Well, it's not looking great, shall I say. It's definitely slowed down. We all know that. I think a lot of car dealers will say the same thing. It's definitely quieting down. But that's an overall picture. But let's get into the specifics of what has caused this to happen, and obviously where do we see things going moving forward. So let's start with some of those causes. First thing is the season we're in now. We're going into summer holidays, kids are breaking up from school, people tend to save up a bit of cash so they can go away whilst the kids have got school holidays. So that's known every year. It's commonly known that the summer season can be more quiet for the reason kids are off school, people go on holiday. But I don't think this is the most significant reason to why things have slowed down. It's just a part of it because it's something which happens every year. As a car dealer, you can almost prepare for it because you know it's coming. You can adjust your stock levels, maybe not buy as much, or have more cash reserves in the bank for this reason. So it's something which you can prepare for. It's definitely an element to why things are quieter, but I don't think it's the main point. But that's the first point I wanted to mention. The next point, something I've spoken about before, is definitely the cost of living crisis. Now, I know it's been going on for a long time, but things are expensive. We've done God knows how many years worth of inflation in the space of probably 12 months. Things are a lot more expensive than what they should be. Prices don't come back down. This is the new norm when inflation happens, because inflation happens every year. It's part of the economy. It's normal to see, a couple of percent a year, but the rate that we've been doing, it's literally like we've jumped 4 or 5 years. So cost of living is very, very high. People have less disposable income, meaning they're not going to have as much money to spend on a new car. So again, it's really black and white. People have less money, they're less likely to upgrade a car. So that is the second point to why I think things are starting to slow down. The third point is interest rates. Now, interest rates don't necessarily have a major impact on the cheap side of the used car market. It does tend to offend more than 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, right? Because you're borrowing money to buy these cars, which means if the interest rates are high, which, if you're looking to get a rate now from the main dealer, you're probably paying around anywhere between 10 to 14%. If you go to a broker, maybe you get a bit low, maybe 8.9. But compared to what the rates used to be 3, 4, 5 years ago, it's a lot higher. And if you're buying a car for 20 grand and taking on finance, you're going to be paying a lot more money on interest rates compared to what you would have been a couple of years ago. So that is another reason why the car market has slowed down. And if we do look at the cheaper end of the spectrum, people may take out a bank loan to finance their car. Because interest is higher, it means their monthly payments are higher. So what that means in the real world is they've got less money to spend on their new car. All of these things trickle down and end up having an impact. And it's what we're seeing now. Car market has slowed down, prices have fallen. Some of you will say it's not prices crashing, it's more of a correction. You are right to some extent. Obviously, if prices were inflated ridiculously through COVID, and we're starting to see things come back to where they should be. But the way it's happened is so fast. The last 12 months, people have lost crazy amount of money on cars. You look at the Range Rovers, the brand new one, 12 months ago, you couldn't even get them less than 100 grand. Now the cheapest one on Auto Trader is sub £70,000. That's lost 30 grand in a year. SVRs, again, 20, 30 grand in the last 12 months. EVs have lost a ridiculous amount of money as well. So that's just a few examples I'm giving you, but trying to not get sidetracked. We're really focusing on the cheaper end of the market here. But the impact it has had is cars aren't selling as fast as what they used to, even on the cheaper end. Now, the next point is linked to interest rates as well, mortgage rates. Now, a lot of people do have a mortgage. Some people rent, of course, but a lot of people have a mortgage. Rates have changed, interest rates are higher. So, you've come off your fixed rate mortgage now after 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years, or whatever it is. A lot of people are coming off those cheap fixed rates and going on to the new ones, which obviously are a lot higher than what you probably would have been paying, meaning your biggest outgoing for most people, which is a mortgage, is now going to be a lot more expensive, which ultimately means you've got less disposable income. You're going to have to budget differently if you are buying a car. If your mortgage has gone up by £500 a month, that's the difference between you financing a brand new car or having to just buy a cheap car for £1,000 cash because you don't have the budget to do so. And in this country, a lot of people do live month to month, whether you're on a small salary or even on a big salary. I think the average savings that a 45-year-old has in this country is like 3 or 4 grand. Don't hold me to it, it's just something which I saw, but it gives you an idea of how expensive things are in this country, regardless of what sort of salaries you're on. So that's that point. Now, the last point is to do with the current affairs. We've obviously just gone through elections, obviously new Prime Minister has been elected. So the lead up to this, for like the last 3 months or so, shall I say, does cause uncertainty in the economy. If people aren't sure of what's going to happen when, you know, a new government comes in, or of how things are going to look over the next couple of years, people are naturally more cautious with their spending. Now that goes with buying houses or buying cars or whatever it may be, just with big purchases, they're going to be more cautious, because depending on what party comes in to run the government will have an impact on where they see, you know, the future for them. So we've got a new government, Labour's coming to power, so there ultimately are going to be some changes in the economy. So there still will be a little bit of uncertainty because it's something new. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's better than what it was before, because before an election, a lot of people will naturally hold back until someone has been elected, because then you've got a bit more of an idea moving forward what's going to happen with the economy. But ultimately, I do think, you know, interest rates, mortgages, people not having the same disposable income is a big factor for why we're seeing the decline in the used car market and why things have slowed down. But collectively, the points which I've spoken about collectively all add up and really will have a negative impact. And we're seeing it now. Things have slowed down. It's no secret. You can speak to car dealers. It has slowed down. You still will get the odd few car dealers who are massively established, have a big client base, return business, or specialize in niche cars, who will still be thriving. That's more generally seen at the really top end, you know, high-end supercars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, at the top end, because it's a different bracket. That, of course, it's still affected, but it's a different type of business. So they still may be doing better than others, but I'm speaking more just for your general day-to-day cars. But as a whole, businesses are finding things very tough, not even just in the car market. You speak to small independent business owners, things are a lot more tougher at the moment. Rent expensive, bills have gone up. If you're a car dealer, you know, mechanic prices have gone up, parts are more expensive, bodywork is very expensive. Bodywork used to be much more affordable. You could get panels painted for 100, 150 pounds. Now, if you want to get a panel painted on a car, you're paying the best part of 400 pounds to get it done. I'm sure you probably can find a guy who'll paint it in his garage for 100 pounds, but what I'm saying is everyone's costs have gone up, meaning when they are a business, their product or whatever they're doing, that has to increase as well. So it's all just trickling down and impacting everyone in a bit of a negative way. And honestly, I do think at the moment, where it's known across the board, where, you know, car dealers have slowed down, only the toughest will survive. You know, it's about keeping your head above water now. Only the toughest will get through this and survive. And you are going to probably see dealers close down or definitely change the way they're doing their business, maybe downsize. Funny enough, I spoke to someone the other day from Leicester who has a car dealership with 100 cars, and he was saying it's been dead since August for him, and he's thinking of downsizing to just 20 cars because it's just not for him. He doesn't see, you know, the return for the amount of money things are costing him. You know, I dread to think what his Auto Trader bill is with 100 cars, but if that guy's struggling from 100 cars and thinking of downsizing to 20, it tells you a lot. And other dealers who I don't know, you know, it's quite commonly known that they've changed the way they run their business. They've downsized, they've got rid of their showroom, operating from a small unit where they just do a handover, because they sell a lot of cars virtually and online, so they're just keeping their costs low. It's what people are having to do now. They're having to change and adapt to just survive. And with all of those points I'm talking about, well, it just means that your margins have become tighter. And if you want to stay competitive in this market, you need to have your car priced correctly. So margins are shrinking, meaning you're not making as much money on the car and you're taking on more risk in doing so. So it's just something you've got to think about. So where do I see things going with the used car market moving into the future? Well, it's early days. It's hard to say exactly what's going to happen, because if you think about it, a lot's happened in the economy. We've got a new government, and that is the biggest thing which is going to impact how things are in the economy moving forward. So what I'd like to see is a bit of a boost in the economy, gives it some confidence, and that will allow people to start spending more money. Because if people feel more confident and have some, you know, a bit of faith in the economy and think that things are on the up, naturally people are going to spend more money. So that's what we do. If the government says things are okay, people spend money. If the government says things aren't great, we hold back and keep money safe. So I would like to see a bit of confidence and a bit of a boost in the economy. If that happens, people will spend more money, and that will start to trickle through the system, because ultimately it's a flow. You know, the money needs to go around the system for people to be making money. If people aren't spending, then you're not going to be able to make any money. So that's what I'd like to see happen. It is very early to say what will happen, but what I will do for sure is, again, I do this quarterly. In the next quarter, in 3 months' time, I'll do an update to show how things have gone in the car market since. Have we seen any change? Have things got better or have they got worse? So if you do want to stay tuned for that information, make sure you subscribe to the channel now, hit that like button and comment down below, guys, if you do think anything differently, or if you've got your opinion on where you see the market going. Just comment down below, guys, and let me know what your thoughts, because I'll be interested to see. It's more of a debate, there is no right or wrong necessarily at this point. But other than that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Hopefully it's been a bit of an insight into the used car market and with how things are in the current affairs. So hopefully that's come through on today's video and given you a good insight. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Take care, guys.